If you get intimidated by oil painting, then this workshop is for you. I'm gonna walk you through my favorite method for oil painting step by step, and it's going to be really easy, really simple, really laid out. And I'm gonna be working on this piece. Yesterday here on YouTube, I did the first layer, which is a subtractive method that the old masters used, where I put down a ground of basically one single color. I mixed Prussian blue and raw umber together, and then I used various tools like this subtraction tool to subtract out the pigment to leave the various values for this underpainting. Now this underpainting is dry, and I'm gonna do the second layer. So if you missed the first layer, then you wanna go to our school channel, Milan Art Institute, and check that out. And you can see how this formed. So also, very exciting, at the end of this video, we are gonna do a giveaway. So we are going to give away this beautiful, beautiful Milan Art brush set. And you get a lot of really good brushes. These are super duper high quality. It's a mixture of all kinds of different types of bristles, different sizes. Look at this really beautiful fat filbert. I love this brush. I love this brush. And another favorite of mine is this script brush. You can do so many cool things with this script brush. And then this is also another favorite, this filbert. I actually like them all. I don't know. Some days I just can't even decide which one. It's like they're my children and I love them all the same. And we also, if you are not watching this live, we have a surprise for you also at the end. So you want to stay tuned. We have a live chat, so feel free to ask questions. Say hello, Jake. Jake is here to answer questions for you or to let me know what your questions are. So this should be really fun, really interactive. What is my plan? I'm gonna get started painting right about now. And how I'm gonna approach this for the second layer is 3 rules that I wanna keep track of. Back to front. So I generally am going to work what is furthest away, the background first, and then what is on top next. I'm also gonna work big to small. So big brushes first, then I will work my way down to smaller brushes, and also dark to light. Now I already have a bunch of darks down. There's a few spots like right in here, down in here, a few spots in here, the eyes that need to get a little bit darker. So that won't take me long at all. So back to front, big to small, dark to light. And if you kind of keep those rules in mind as you're working on any painting really, you are gonna do really, really well. So I have a medium here. It's Galkid. It's a glazing medium. It looks like this. So you can see it. And what it does is it adds viscosity and transparency to your paint. So if I'm gonna add some dark into the background, I have Prussian blue, I have raw umber I'm mixing, and some black. So I'm getting it really, really dark. I can come in and glaze. And as you can see what's underneath. So as I go over this spot here, that light spot that I have, I can still see it. So, so I'm just gonna glaze in and reiterate some darks that didn't quite get dark enough from yesterday's session. And as you can see, it's filling in. I'm not gonna do every part of it. I'm looking at my source to see, where those darks are down in here. And if I go over these parts that are supposed to be red and orange, it's not the end of the world because I can still put red and orange on there. So I'm being a little bit careful, but not like crazy careful. And I'm also today on this second layer, just gonna really work this area here. Typically I will work all over. So I would glaze the whole background, but if I do that, you're not gonna see much. And because it takes longer than an hour. So I'm I'm going to basically work an area so you get the idea. So whatever I'm doing to this area, you would want to think I'm applying that to the whole painting. And it's changing color there. So I'm going to take this manganese blue and make the glaze a little bit brighter and shift the color. I think it's always good to shift the color a little bit.
So what are some of the main advantages of oil paint compared with acrylics or other mediums in this type of painting process?
Oh, Jake, you opened a whole can of worms. There are so many advantages. So oil, we always say oil is king, meaning it has the most perceived value. It's like, ooh, it's an oil painting, right? Because the old masters, a lot of them used oil. And it's just, it has, you know, that perceived value of most archival, it'll last forever kind of feeling, most expensive. But really, it's so like luminous, it's so juicy. When you see these colors go on, it really is next level to acrylic or anything else. There's just a depth. And the reason for that is the pigment, because the binder is oil, it's walnut oil or linseed oil, and it has this, you know, you're able to put more pigment in the oil paint than you would acrylic that has a plastic binder. So the molecules on the plastic binder are much bigger, and that keeps the molecules of the pigment in the paint from moving, right? And so it's acrylic has this sort of dead on arrival or stagnant because the molecular movement of the paint, of the pigment, is static. Whereas with oil, it moves. And so what that does is it gives you this color temperature where the warms move forward and the cools move back. And that is a pretty unique and spectacular phenomenon. So like right now, I'm using all cool paint. I'm glazing these faraway places, and I'm adding cool because this is receding. This is behind the turtle. This part of the shell is behind. So this color that I'm adding, made with my cools over here, is receding. And so the reason I said Jake opened a can of worms is because this whole color temperature with oil is a pretty in-depth, advanced kind of type lesson. And more than you can probably cover on YouTube here. So luckily we have lessons for that. We have courses for that. And it's probably something that's very unique about our school because a lot of people don't teach it. But if you are an oil painter, you really need to know color temperature because it will make all your paintings just super alive. So now I'm going to switch to some warm paint, and you're going to see right here on the shell, it's going to really pop forward. So I'm still just glazing, and you can see how just beautiful and rich, and how much that pops here. Because this part of the shell is more forward than that. So you can see this is receding back and this is popping forward. And glazing is really quick. Like, I don't fool around long with glazing. I just kind of throw it down there, and then when I get into the opaques, I slow down a little bit more.
So, Ellie, a lot of people are afraid of oils being too slow or messy. What would you say to those people, or what advice might you give them?
What do you think they mean by slow? Like takes too long to paint with them?
Yeah. This isn't in the chat, by the way, just generally.
Yeah, I don't think they're that slow. I think that they're actually the same as acrylic. In fact, they're faster because it would take me forever to get an acrylic painting looking as good as an oil painting would look. So I feel like they're actually, pretty quick. They dry slower but that's an advantage. And you can speed up drying time with different mediums. Like this Gal Kid, this is dry from yesterday, the underpainting is completely dry. So I think you can speed up the drying time and oils, once you know how to use them, it's not that they're not any harder than acrylic. In a lot of ways, they're easier. You just have to know how to use them.
Oh, sorry. Shout out to Katie. She said she had to take a nap to make sure that she saw the second part after watching the first. UK Mastery Program student, loving every moment. Thanks for joining, Katie. Tanya, yes, she is using transparents. And Susie wants to know, what's the difference between water-soluble oil paint as opposed to standard oil paint other than the solvent you use to clean the brushes? And do the color theory techniques work for both?
Yes. They use a different binder. It's a water soluble, is it walnut oil? I don't know. I'd have to, I don't honestly remember what the binder is they use, but it is a form of oil. It's just that it does break down in water. So the problem is the industry hasn't put as much time, care, or tradition into water-based oil. And so the quality of paint, the amount of pigments, the formulas they've made, the variety of colors, all of that is a little bit, less desirable than normal oil. I think normal oil tends to be richer, and part of that could be the binder, but a lot of it could just be the quality. So there's a new, well, I don't know how new it is, but it's new to me, medium that Schmink, is that Schminky?
Schmink, yeah.
Schminke, something like that.
German company.
Yeah, came up with, that actually Jake discovered that turns all oil paint into water-based oil paint if you mix it in there. But I think the problem with that is you need a lot of the medium, in order to do that, so.
Wow, I did not know that you could do this. Someone sent, Austin sent $2 tip and asked a question with it here on YouTube. And his question was, how long did it take you to learn to draw?
Oh, it depends on what level. So I honestly learned to draw at the flip of a switch, because for me, to go from stick figures to actually being able to draw through observation what I could see, so real drawing, let's say, or academic drawing. I took, in high school, I was 15, I took we had a workshop in my art history class, and, not art history, oh my gosh, I'm painting and so I'm saying dumb things. In my high school art class. And the teacher, this is in the 80s, was Betty Edwards, who wrote Drawing from the Right Side of the Brain. And we went through all the different exercises, and just something happened to me. All of a sudden, just a switch went off, and I was able to just draw suddenly. And I just attribute it to like my right brain just flipped on. And I started practicing. Now, to get to the point where I drew well, it took several years from there, but I didn't put it into practice immediately at age 15. I went to art school after that, and that's when I think I really learned to measure and draw much better. And then, you know, it takes years and years of practice. So I think some people have a natural knack for it. That is not me. I know a lot of people that can draw better than me, but I'm pretty good at drawing. So I think it's different for everyone, and I don't know. It's like it happened in a moment, but then again, it took years to perfect or, you know, really hone.
I think I can kind of relate to what you're talking about, but more in seeing detail, not necessarily just like drawing specifically. For me, it was a small scale realism lesson in the mastery program. And I know it's the same with a lot of mastery program students, but that lesson specifically helped me be able to see detail like never before. I felt like I could zoom in, and I guess it's hard to describe the phenomenon, but it's almost like entering flow in a moment of time and like slowing down and really seeing details for the first time. You know, that's the only way that I can explain it. It was like a specific moment in the class, and I was like, whoa. Because before, I could still see the details and, was painting relatively realistically from the first few lessons of the mastery program, even though I didn't have much experience before because of the instruction, but that lesson really helped me see different, you know?
Yeah.
But again, you're right. It's a process of like, you have the unlock and then you have to push further and continue developing your skills over time.
So
go ahead.
as you can see, I just kind of want to explain a little bit of what I'm doing. I call this the ugly stage. So if you can kind of see what it was before, because it's monochromatic, it doesn't look as ugly. It's just kind of a rough underpainting. As soon as you apply the glazes, it gets a little bit darker. And it's fun and it's easy. There's no stress to it because you're not like really getting in there and getting in the details. But it starts to look a little bit, say on the ugly side. Now, once I start putting in all of these highlights again and the different color shifts that go in there. So like, for example, take this green area. Right now, it's just the dark that was there from the underpainting, and then I glazed it green to get this sort of bright green there. But if you look at the source, there's like flecks of red, there's aqua, there's all these highlights, there's the pattern of like kind of a teal blue in there. And once those details go in there, then the sort of ugly second layer becomes much nicer and a lot better looking. So the other thing I'm doing is kind of cooling off the creases that kind of recede, and I'm warming up the areas that come forward. And once I move into the opaques, which as soon as I'm done kind of hitting these areas in here, so maybe 5-10 minutes from now, then it's gonna start to beautify again, and it will start to look right. So hang in there. It's just a part of the process of how this goes. So just to kind of reiterate, after the underpainting, the next step is glazing. It's gonna get a little on the ugly side once you glaze, but as you can see, like right in here, it's beginning to look like that. What's missing is the nuances of color, the opaque, like the opaque yellow ochre that'll go in there and the white that's in between. But I don't have to paint a lot there because a lot of the information of the underlayer painting and the glaze layer is already there. There's really very little I have to do. So, but the little that I do put down is going to make all the difference.
One of the students watching wants to know, can you talk about when you switch to opaque oils?
Well, I'm actually a little bit using some opaques right now. I'm using them as a glaze. So like that's yellow ochre I'm putting over the eyeball here, but I'm really thinning it out. So, so once the glaze part is done here, that's when I'm gonna move and shift over to heavier, thicker paint. So another kind of rule in oil painting, and if I was you, I would write these down. This is sort of like oil painting Bible, okay? Back to front, dark to light, big to small. And then another one is thin to thick. So glazes are thin, and then heavy, opaque, kind of the consistency of how it comes out of the tube without thinning it is, you know, what you want to do in your next layer or in that opaque layer that you're asking about. So I think those are like really important, let's say, framework or rules, if you want to call it rules, to follow for oil painting.
Ellie, do you do all of your paintings in oils, or how do you decide when you're going to use an oils versus acrylics in a painting?
I always finish my paintings with oil because, again, it's just I want the depth of the color temperature, the warm and the cool. I want the luminosity and the vibrancy, the juicy saturation that oils give you. And I don't, you know, it's just, to me, more beautiful. So I always finish every painting with oil. When I pick up the oil, sometimes the painting is entirely oil, 100%. And sometimes it's a mixture, and it's, you know, acrylic halfway. Sometimes it's acrylic, you know, 3/4, rarely I do that. Sometimes there's no acrylic and I just do a mixed media underpainting. That's probably my favorite way to work, is not to use acrylic at all. I typically skip acrylic and just do inks. I guess those are acrylic. So I do an ink underpainting and then spray paint into the wet ink. And so I kind of block in with spray paint. And that's probably my favorite method of working. I probably use that method, you know, 60% of the time.
Basically, you're not rendering form with acrylics. You're being really expressive with the medium, leaning into its strengths and that it dries really quickly. And then leaning into the strengths of oils and rendering form.
Yep. Yeah, for like beautifying something, adding details, you know, yeah.
I think that's why it's so important too to understand the different strengths and weaknesses of different mediums, you know, as an artist, and to have a versatile skill set and not confine yourself with a limiting belief of I'm just an acrylic painter, or I'm just an oil painter, or I, you know, just do acrylic pours or whatever, you know. Having that versatile skill set of being able to draw, being able to work with acrylics, with inks, with spray paint, with markers, with, you know, being expressive, and then also being able to render paintings realistically, like this painting with oils, and that way you can express yourself to the fullest extent. That's really what the mastery program is all about. It's about teaching you from A to Z how to express yourself with as much joy in the creative process, because frustration really comes in, if you think about it, when you're limited in your skill set. Like, rarely does Elli or Dimitra get frustrated in a painting nowadays because they have the skills to overcome any challenge that presents itself to them. They're not frustrated when they have a super detailed painting because they know how to slow down, they know how to zoom in, and they know how to overcome those challenges, whether it's a brush, a specific technique, or it's, just patience. And that comes with time and with developing your skills. And the best way to do that is to follow the proven process of the mastery program. And if you don't believe me, you can read the chat of mastery program students who are watching this and can confirm that the mastery program is absolutely life-changing.
It's totally true that you get to a point. That's why, sometimes we say, an art career it requires hard work and, dedication. And it does. It requires, hard work. But once you cross over and you get to that point, like Jake was talking about, where your skills are no longer an obstacle and you really can just paint anything and not get stumped anymore, and you're not really full of self-doubt or anything like that, there's just such a tremendous freedom of expression that is just really, indescribable. It's such a fantastic place to get to, where painting is always joyful, painting is always fun. That stress and anxiety that sometimes goes with painting, it goes away. So if you feel sometimes stressed out or anxious because your paintings just aren't going the way you want, and you don't know how to get out of it, you don't know how to fix things, it goes away. You do get to a point in your skills where the thing that you love most, art, is always a tremendous joy. Now, I will say the times that Dimitra and I, and I'm sure any other artist that has developed their skills to that point, feels anxious, stressed out, or upset and hits a rough spot. It's rare, but it does happen. And it happens when you're evolving as an artist and your voice is deepening and you're kind of hitting a new threshold of your voice and your style, and you have this vision for what you want. It's a part of the creative cycle. We teach this in the mastery program, and it's like what you've been painting isn't enough anymore. It's not satisfying, the level or how you envision your art to be, and you see something on the horizon that's better, and you're striving for that, but what you're painting isn't hitting it. And so there's a little bit of a frustration, and that's where some artists can hit, say, a block, because your vision is shifting and changing, but you haven't quite managed it yet. And it usually within just a few paintings, as long as you keep trying, it all clears up and you have the breakthrough. And that is an exhilarating feeling. So I don't struggle with the skill part anymore, but sometimes the voice part, and I think that's a beautiful process for an artist to embrace and understand. Some artists, hit that and get really worried about it and upset and, feeling like, oh my gosh, there's something wrong. I have a block. I'll never be able to paint again, or whatever. And as long as you just keep fighting through it and keep painting anyway, you do get through it, and it's just a really great thing.
So going back to this painting, Ellie, some people watching earlier were wondering, specifically people who watched yesterday's live and the first part of this, was the underpainting dry when you first started, or is it dry now?
Yeah, it's dry now.
Some people were wondering, how is it possible that it's dry in just 24 hours with oil paint?
Because of the medium that I used yesterday, I mixed a mixture of solvent and linseed oil into, and I really thinned out the paint. So thinning out the paint.
Was it linseed or Galkid?
No, linseed oil.
Oh, okay.
So it's 6 parts solvent. If you just mix solvent into oil paint to this, thinness of this color right here, it will dry within an hour to 2 hours. If you mix linseed oil into it, it'll take about 8 hours to dry. You don't want to mix a lot of linseed oil. If you put too much, I forgot what I was mixing here. If you put too much, then you end up with wet paint the next day, because linseed oil slows the drying time down. So as you can see, as I'm starting to add these opaques, it's beginning to beautify. It's still too contrasty. Over time with highlights and midtones and adding layers, it will, look better. I usually do at least 3 layers on a painting. So 2 opaque layers, or if you think about it, it's the underpainting, the glaze layer, and then 2 opaque layers is about what I do. If it's really a complicated piece, or I don't know, I'm rushing through one of those layers and not doing a great job, then maybe I'll do a 3rd opaque layer.
Nicola wanted to know, how does your rag look so much cleaner than mine? I'm wondering if Zest-It solvent isn't strong enough to clean the brushes.
Oh man, this is like my favorite preach. Get ready, get ready everybody. This is my favorite thing to talk about. Maybe it's not my favorite, but I really like to talk about it.
Oh boy, I'm just kidding.
So if you notice, okay, my palette is very neat and tidy. We do not have wet, sloppy anything on here. All the paint is the same consistency as it came out of the tube. Maybe right here, it's thinned out because I glazed. If you don't control your palette like this, and you don't have completely clean, dry places to mix paint, and you transfer, so it's all in how you clean the brush. So hopefully the cameras get this. Tanner, are you on guard here? I have a dirty brush here, and I need to clean it. I go into my turpentine, I sort of slam it down to the bottom. That loosens up all the paint. Okay, it doesn't clean my brush, it just loosens it up on the bristles. Then I have wet, dirty, you can see it's like bluish green, drippy, gross turpentine. If I just transfer that onto my palette, I'm gonna have a wet, sloppy, muddy palette here, and all of my paint will mix into each other, and I'll just have a muddy mess. And that's what a lot of people don't like about oil, because they don't have good habits in how they paint. We teach you this right from the very beginning in the mastery program, or any oil class we teach, because it's so, so important. Now, I told you this is my favorite thing to talk about. So then I rub it against the edge like this. That knocks off the majority of the dirty turpentine. Now, is my brush clean? Absolutely not. This is a dirty brush still. So now, with very little solvent on my brush, because I got rid of the excess right here, I go and I clean it in my rag. So now, this is a dry, clean brush. That brush is clean, that brush is dry. And now I can go and get paint. So my rag This rag's been used so many times. It just kind of, it's a little dirty, but I don't have big glops of paint that I'm transferring here, because then you never really can get a clean brush. So staying neat, clean, and tidy as you paint in oil, I think is quite important.
I think another component to it too, just from my observation of, watching you and Dimitra paint probably more than anyone, has been both of your skills at getting the right amount of paint on the brush too, for what you're using it for. And I know for myself, some of the frustration for myself has been like overdoing the amount, like mixing too much paint for what I need it for, and then just having to like discard it within the solvent itself. And so then the solvent, and so the whole process, I have to clean the brush much more, than when I'm watching you guys, and I'm noticing, wow, you're utilizing that paint to the fullest extent, and not out of like lack or anything like that, but out of skill. And like not in that you're trying to conserve every bit of paint, you don't need more paint because you know exactly how much you're placing. And I'm not saying you guys get it perfect, but you just are much more accurate in the approximation of paint that you need.
Yeah, I think that just comes with experience.
Yes, yeah.
And a lot of it is the back to front, big to small, dark to light. So darks are typically thinner because they're dark paint, dark values are going to be the transparents. Transparents, you thin out a bit with the Galkid. The darks come in with glazing. So I darkened some stuff. I did it with glazing. So I had Galkid on my brush. It's thinner. You don't use as much paint. It's easier to clean, et cetera, et cetera. Then, because I'm working thin to thick, I am not putting a ton of paint on my brush. On the last layer is when I will lay in thick, heavy, like this is gonna be very heavy. Anywhere where I have really bright highlights or a juicy, juicy red, I am like picking up a lot of paint very deliberately, and I'm laying it down because that is the last thing you see. It is juicy, heavy, because you're painting thin to thick. So now I'm painting fairly thin, and I'm not like, getting a lot of paint on my brush. So, it's normal that the cleaning process is not as, and I'm gonna use all of it, like Jake said.
Oh, this is awesome. Denise said, the mastery programs helped my flow and seeing the world around me differently, like all the different colors of the sky or the different shapes of everything.
And that is probably one of the best things about being an artist.
Yeah.
Is how you see the world. I feel sorry for anybody who doesn't think they're an artist, because I think everybody can be an artist. It's just, are you gonna spend time doing it? And when you are, and you spend time creating and observing the world around you, you didn't realize tree trunks have purple in them and, yellow. And, before that, you're like, oh, they're brown, right? They're brown. Tree trunks are brown. And so it's a pretty incredible thing.
Hey, Ellie, what advice do you have for this lady? So Petra said, I lack skills. I can see what I'm doing wrong, but I can't fix it. Is that weird? I really hope to paint more realistically.
No, that's a very normal process everybody, including myself, has gone through. So all you have to do is get the skills. So that would be in my opinion, your first priority is learn how to draw, learn how to paint, get the skills. And practice and learn from the right people learn the right techniques, and just repeat.
Okay, so there's a few people asking about sources. Bubba's wants to know, what are your thoughts on using AI to make source images? In your opinion, is there a line there between using your own imagination or depending on AI to create the whole image?
Well, you know, in a perfect world, if I was a, you know, perfect artist, or I could wave a magic wand, I would love to be able to paint this out of my head and, you know, intuitively and wing it in the moment, and sit down at a blank canvas and have no idea what I'm going to paint and just see what comes out of me, and it's something like this. But I don't know hardly any art. In fact, I've never met an artist that can do that. Even my husband, who is probably the closest artist I know to being able to paint out of their head, can't pull off realism or something that's very representational right out of his head. So it just depends on what you want to do. If you want to paint very stylized and you want to, you know, and you've really built your skills over time, you know, just painting intuitively and it coming out just as blobs that don't really say anything and there's no intentionality to it, I don't know that that's going to be quality. So anyway, for me, I use sources. I can paint abstract. I can paint out of my head, but it looks pretty different, and the subjects are different. So to paint these subjects that I want to paint, and what I'm interested in is painting light. Like what I'm doing right now, actually, this light thing that, you know, and how the light's going to bounce here and here is my favorite thing to paint. And so I can only do that through observation. I cannot see it in my mind and be able to do it. So that means I need a source. And I got this turtle and this turtle from Midjourney, which is AI. I got all these marigolds. There's probably in this image that I created on a program called Pixelmator, which is like Photoshop, I probably used 15 to 18 photographs. I would say 75% of those photographs came from Midjourney. So I, you know, mixed glowing lights, marigolds, water elements. To make up this water image, there's at least 3 photos from Midjourney that I used. And the reason I like to use AI in Midjourney is because I don't have some photographer that photographed this turtle. You know, I don't have to look over my shoulder going, oh, I took a photographer's picture. AI took it. So,
You're one level of distance removed.
I'm not responsible, AI is.
Midjourney can take the lawsuit.
I don't think it's a good idea. I agree with the question. I don't think it's a great idea to plug something into Midjourney like 2 turtles swimming under the sea with, you know, light splashing on them, and then grab that from Midjourney and paint it. Because Midjourney made the composition, Midjourney made the imagery, you know, how the light is, all of that. But when you use components and you make it your own, I think there's an art to this. That's digital art. I made digital art. Mm-hmm. And then I'm not satisfied with that. I want to paint it. So yeah, I think there's definitely a place for AI, and I think it expands our creativity. I think it enhances our creativity. It gives us a lot more tools and freedom and, you know, to be able to paint anything our heart dreams of. So I'm not against AI. I don't think you should only use that. I think that you should invent your own imagery from the components of AI.
Yeah, that's really well put. It's photo collage. It's an art form itself. It'd be cool to make a course helping digital artists learn how to translate that skill into painting, or at least, having a marketing campaign, because we already have those courses, right? But
yeah, well, I was getting ready to say that in the mastery program, we teach you how to do everything I just said. Another thing I think in oil painting you want to get away from is the kind of blendy, smoothie stuff, because you can blend with oil paint so well. A lot of people go bonkers with it and just start blending everything. And especially portraits. I don't know why portraits bring that out more than anything else, but brush strokes are beautiful. There's something very artistic and expressionistic and very desirable for collectors to see this, a pile of brush strokes that interpret the form and the light. And just laying down a brush stroke and turning your brush, the energy that goes into it, the delivery of the paint, and not blending it and erasing that whole process, that whole artistic interpretation that happens of how you wield your tool. So if you are a blendy smoothie by default, now there's a time and a place for blending and smoothing. I sometimes I blend certain areas if I want it to disappear and kind of fall back. Maybe I'll blend it a little bit, but I think as a default that's what you always do. You just blend everything, almost like a compulsion. That's a habit you really want to break.
So a few people were wondering when is the next start date for the mastery program, and we actually have start dates every single Saturday. We have 40 spaces available every Saturday for the mastery program, which you can sign up at any point to get access to. And we've been consistently selling out of every single week in terms of the spaces filling up. So my advice, especially considering the price increase that's coming, is if you're planning on signing up for the mastery program and you want to lock in the current price, is to sign up and you can choose a start date in the future. And right now we allow students to do up to 1 month in the future unless you pay in full. And then you can choose basically as far out as you want. And what that does is your 2 years of access to group coaching starts with your start date. So you actually get access to group coaching immediately, but from your group coaching, and I should say we don't let you just book out infinitely if you pay in full for the mastery program, right? But there will be a limit. We'll probably place a limit of 3 months just to be reasonable. But yeah, you get access to group coaching for the mastery program basically right away, and have an orientation call once you begin the program.
So it's almost like you can reserve in advance.
Exactly. That's the best way to describe it simply. Sometimes because I help think of all the automations and stuff on the back end, it becomes more complicated in my head than it really needs to be. Someone was asking if the mentor fees are going to go up. Next year, the price of mentoring will increase. So if you're considering having a mentor, then definitely recommend getting a mentor now. It's honestly a steal. We have 3 different options of mentors. We have our standard option, which is $200 a month, and you get an artist who is actively pursuing a professional career, making money with their art, graduate of the mastery program, and that's, again, only $200 a month for an actual artist mentor who mentors you one-on-one throughout the entire program. Pretty crazy. The next option above that is our level 2 mentoring, and that is with one of our select few mentors who's making over $50,000 a year in their art career, mentoring excluded. And so they're making $50,000 of art, or at least $50,000 a year with their art, and they are selling their work in galleries, or selling through their own website, or just making money with their art, aside from mentoring with us, and aside from just mentoring with us, I should say. And that is $700 a month.
Well, they also have over 10,000 followers.
Yes, that is another good point.
They know how to develop social media.
Yes. They're among the most skilled and most qualified mentors that we have, and that's why it costs more for their time. And so that is $700 a month, an option we just released, also with limited availability. And then the highest level, which is very consistently sold out, is getting mentoring with Elli or Dimitra, some of the instructors of the mastery program, and that is right now $1,000 a month. The price of that will definitely be increasing as well because, again, it's constantly sold out. So. Vanessa wants to know, do we still offer monthly prizes during group challenges in the mastery program?
Yeah.
Yes, we do. We just hardly ever talk about it.
I know.
We're giving away, what is it, like $5,000 a month? Something like that? I don't know. I can't remember exactly.
I think it might be more. I don't know.
I would have to check. We have someone else in charge of that now. I should check on that, though.
Well, it's every single month, I mean. This part is super fun too, because this is like the tortoise shell, when you get tortoise shell glasses or.
Okay, so it's 4 contests every month. We give out, for each winner, they get $500 in cash and a $500 art store gift card to buy many art supplies with. And that's every single month. So it's $4,000 a month in contest prizes. And we choose one, so you're not always competing against, I guess it's not competing against, competing with, or, submitting your art with all mastery program students. It's one contest per part of the program. So we have 4 parts of the mastery program. Oil painting and drawing in part 1, mixed media, finding your voice, developing your portfolio, and then launching your business. And so we have a contest for each of the different 4 parts every single month. That's funny. The students know better. They're commenting what it was before I even found it. So, yeah, Teresa Power just won it.
Oh,
and
that's
she's
great.
watching right now. That's awesome.
Super cool.
Chelsea's wondering when the next SOPA intake is. That saddens my heart. I've failed you, Chelsea. I apologize. Because SOPA is available right now. So you can go, and if you want to join SOPA, then you can sign up today for it. We decided to open it up. We were limiting the amount of students that we were accepting into it in the beginning because we wanted to make sure that we could provide the best possible experience. And we've just invested more and more resources into making it an amazing experience. And of course, we know how many students we can allow in because we have an understanding of how many students are graduating every month. And so that being said, you are welcome to join SOPA today. And for those of you who don't know, SOPA is our Society of Professional Artists. So when you join SOPA, we have amazing post-mastery mentoring options where you get group mentoring with Elli, myself, Dimitra, Alana, who's our brand director, and various employees of ours who are certified experts in their field, like Tanner here, who has gotten millions. I think we counted like over 30 million views with the videos that he's produced on Instagram. And our production director here, who before working with us, the man behind the switcher board who's making sure that you guys are getting every single shot pristine and has helped us level up our production. You get advice from him too, for those of you interested in visual storytelling through video. And you know, he's worked in trailer houses for Hollywood before. We stole him away. And so, and not only that, but many more amazing employees that we have here at Milan Art, like our gallery director, Jock, who's been a gallery director for over 10 years. And he does a monthly call too in Society of Professional Artists, helping artists get their portfolios gallery ready and learn how to better apply to galleries and work through some of the specific, unique things that they're problems that they're facing, or you know, challenges, I should say, that they're facing, and myself, who talking about myself in third person, and you know, I'm currently in the middle of a series where I'm helping artists understand different business models that they can apply themselves to, teaching artists how to use attraction offers, upsell, downsell, and continuity offers to make the most money possible with their business, and understanding who they want to serve with their art businesses so that they can bring the maximum amount of, yes, money, but also fulfillment to themselves and on a long-term basis. So that's just a component of the Society of Professional Artists, is that those live calls that we do every single week. And another part of it, is the opportunities. So for example, we did the Outstanding Artist and chose artists from the Society of Professional Artists. And season 4 was all SOPA members. And the SOPA members earned over $40,000 just before the season aired. So we haven't even aired the season yet. They haven't even been shown to the public, and already SOPA members, and that's not just the winner, we had more prizes throughout the season this time. So not only that, but there's teaching opportunities. SOPA members, we choose from SOPA members exclusively for our coaches, for our mentors. Some SOPA members are flying out here to teach with us, which is also another paid opportunity. And yeah, it's like an opportunity hub. We vet different galleries, have exclusive connections with like signature galleries and other galleries that we share with our Society of Professional Artists members.
There's a cool opportunity going on right now. I don't know if you know about it, Jake, with Litza, where they can enter into a big art show that's happening in November, and in her 10,000 square foot gallery, and they have an opportunity to win gallery contracts, because in that show there's a bunch of other galleries scouting artists. So it's like, it's a really fantastic opportunity.
Yeah, and you might be thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, wow, how much does SOPA cost? Like, $50,000 a year? No, you'd be wrong. Is it $12,000 a year? Nope. It's only $1,200 a year right now, as of today. So again, as with all things, the price will increase over time. And that's just as, more and more value is being added to it. And we continue to invest and create an even better experience. My goal one day is to have it so that every SOPA member within the first few weeks of joining SOPA makes all of their money back and more, if they put in their effort. And some artists who've joined SOPA, like Tanya McGuire, who joined my very first call talking about attraction offers, took one of the ideas and immediately implemented it and made $9,500 within 2 weeks of joining SOPA. That she she herself said she wouldn't have made if not for joining SOPA, because of the one idea that she heard and the one call that she attended. She attended more than just one call, but it was that one idea that helped. So.
Super cool. Man, if SOPA existed when I was first starting out, can you imagine?
Christine's wondering if SOPA is a one-time fee or an ongoing membership. So because this is an ongoing service, it is an ongoing membership. So if we charge $1,200 one time, we would not be able to run it as a business because of all of the investment and resources that goes into it.
But our goal is that you make so much more money back throughout the year because of it, whether it's direct opportunities or like what he just said about implementing the ideas and resources so that it's pretty much a no-brainer. It would cost you money not to be a part of SOPA.
Janice wanted to know if it was my idea. Yes, it was. Very proud of the idea. The idea that helped the lady sell.
Oh, I was like, what?
What? SOPA? The name of SOPA was my idea.
Sometimes it's hard to remember whose idea is what because there's so many ideas going on.
We come up with all the ideas together on calls usually, so, or in person. Janice wants to know if we have personal mentors available in SOPA. So no, it's way more collective based. So you
wouldn't want to be limited to that.
Yeah, you are. I mean, we do have the ability to pay for a one-on-one call with Elli or myself. But honestly, you don't need to do that because we're incredibly available within SOPA within our calls. Like this week alone, I am doing 3 calls within SOPA. I talked on Monday all about how to downsell. And on Wednesday, so like you have a customer, you have made an offer and they said no, what do you do next, right? So that was Monday's call. And we spent 90 minutes talking about that. I taught for basically 60 minutes, probably a little bit more, and then we did questions for like 30 minutes or so. I always schedule 60 minutes and they always go to 90 minutes. So, and then Wednesday we talked all about memberships and shared a lot of behind the scenes on building Dimitro's Print Club, which now has over 400 people on it. And if you do the math, that's, can I do the math? $6,000 a month in print sales consistently on a membership. And it's not that much in terms of actual profit, but I'm sharing all the numbers and everything that I'm learning and helping Dimitro grow this print subscription behind the scenes with SOPA members as we're learning it. So you're not learning this like a year later or 3 years later. You're learning this in the moment as we're building, and getting to be a part of that. And we're creating resources for artists too. within SOPA. So working on different templates and easier plug and play business things. Okay, Ellie, do you want to catch people up? I've been talking for a long time. Sorry.
I've just been painting. What have I been doing? Just basically working dark to light, and I'm, been adding all kinds of opaques in there. The things that are missing are these light, bright. I mean, I did play in there because I just wanted to show you where it would be going. But just getting everything to kind of this level, then what would be the final stage would be adding just one more layer of detail. So I would come in like here with the script brush to get these really thin, lighter lines. I need to come in here with the lighter, or darker colors, like there's some orange, there's some like light blue. So it's really just kind of working in layers. And now I'm been glazing. I'm kind of out of paint, so I really need some more transparent.
It's a good time to start wrapping up, though, Ellie.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Because I'm out of paint.
So we'll do the giveaway here in just a minute, but sorry to interrupt.
Well, that's
keep going.
exciting. So yeah, I didn't glaze these flowers yet down here. So the first step would be to glaze them. And then once that kind of sets up a bit, then it would be going into, and I usually glaze with cools because the darker kind of tends to recede, and then I'll add warms on top. So yeah, I wonder if there's any questions about this process and this kind of second step to the process.
Yeah, there's been questions throughout. I did want to say though, real quick, in order to enter the giveaway, all you have to do is be subscribed and be commenting. So make sure you're subscribed to Elli. You might think that you're subscribed and actually only be subscribed to Milan Art Institute. So it's important that you do that in order to make sure you get Elli's content too. And also be eligible for the giveaway.
Also, I just want to say, do not underestimate how brushes change everything. If you have been painting with crappy, old, frayed, stiff, weird brushes, it is not your fault that your paintings don't look as good as they could. It is your brush's fault. So do not underestimate a good quality brush. Does it have to be a $500 brush? No, but I'm telling you, I've seen it so many times where they'll come to one of our classes, and we use all of our brushes in our in-person classes, and they use them for the first time, and they're just like, oh my gosh, like I can paint. And it's like, yeah, because you're using a good brush. So whoever is going to win these brushes, especially if you've never used good brushes before, you are in for a huge treat. You will feel like your entire painting practice has been revolutionized. So if anybody has used good quality brushes after they've used bad quality brushes, then you know exactly what I am talking about. Such a difference.
Okay, real quick, wanted to shoot a shout out to Amberlyn, a SOPA member. She said, I used a few of the techniques from Jake's calls and already sold a couple paintings.
That's amazing. I love that.
So cool. Okay, so I am about to load this giveaway right on up. Just make sure you're commenting. Let us know, what was your favorite part of this live today in the chat? How about we do that instead of just random comments? Or, I mean, you can do random comments too if you want, but.
What are they saying? What are they saying?
Diana said SOPA is fabulous. Love having you in the calls, Diana. So many people excited to join SOPA once they
Is
graduate.
that Diana Jaffe?
Yes.
Diana Jaffe was my student. I got to mentor her.
Diana always has the most,
She
I
is
want to say like luxurious
extremely-
backgrounds.
Yeah, she's extremely inspirational.
So I asked people what their favorite thing is, and some people said, HB said, so good to hear your voice, Ellie and Jake. Beverly said, love the rag tip. That's great. Watching the turtles come alive. Love seeing how Ellie mixes the paint. The little bits of wisdom I caught throughout it. All 70 minutes, watching the live process. Color. Loving the SOPA info. The session's fantastic. Everything's been so good. Everything. The glazing, love oils, just pick the winner.
I can only assume, you know, I haven't watched it because I'm here painting, but I'll watch it later. The camera work, I've watched a lot of lives on YouTube. I'm not trying to, I'm not tooting my horn, I'm tooting Euro's horn. And Tanner's on the camera. You don't see very often the good shots. It's really hard to capture painting, I will say. It's a lot harder than it seems. When you work on small pieces flat here, it's pretty easy to capture, and that's usually what you see on YouTube, but you rarely see people working at an easel with really good camera angles, because it is so difficult, and especially live without editing, because we're basically live editing.
Okay, all right, let's do this live. I meant giveaway. So I read the word live when I said it. Okay, I have the live giveaway pulled right up. I just did it again there. And we're gonna count down from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
I
1.
can't stand it.
And
Who
we
won?
have the winner, and her name is Deja D. Congratulations,
Ooh,
Deja.
That's awesome. Congratulations. You get some really amazing brushes. Look at all of these. How many brushes is it, Tanner? 11 brushes. That is great.
And all you have to do is just send us an email, and we will help you get those brushes sent to your doorstep. So for everyone else who's watching, we do have a special for our How to Paint a Beautiful Portrait Every Time Mastery Insight. So if you've considered taking the Mastery program, or if you watched yesterday's live and you were like, I'm just not quite sure yet, I don't know if I'm confident enough yet, I don't know if I have the skills, well, silence all those naysayers in your head, because now is the time, it's the best time to at least give yourself a shot. You'll never know what skills you have until you invest a little bit in yourself. And today we're making that easier with How to Paint a Beautiful Portrait Every Time. You use the code PORTRAITS40, and the first 1,000 artists are gonna get $40 off. So that is only $45 for an amazing step-by-step lesson with Elli on how to paint a beautiful portrait every single time using the subtractive method. And actually, it's a bit more, Elli, why don't you explain a little bit more about the method?
Yeah, it is such a fantastic course or video package of creating a portrait with a very similar method to this. So it's all about blocking in the mastery program. We call it the monster portrait, because you basically, through blocking in of very dark glazes, the forms and working that big to small then coming in and subtracting out and getting the forms and the accuracy. I teach you how to see proportion, how to see all the plane shifts, the anatomy of the face. I've had people that take this class that have never painted a portrait ever before in their life, and they're completely blown away at how representational and true to form they were able to pull off this painting, because I walk you through it step by step. And it's a real foolproof method. We also really, I'm super proud of how it's the video quality of it. We have these like macro lenses where I'm laying in with a script brush eyelashes and showing you exactly how to do it. And there's a macro lens, so your entire screen is literally the brush laying down a single eyelash. So you get really, really cool, almost cinematic type experience of seeing how the painting is constructed. Nothing is in time lapse. You see every brushstroke that was put on the portrait, you actually see it. So, and you see it in real time. And the video is not 6 hours long. It's, I don't even know how long it is. Is it 3 hours or something like that? 4 hours?
It's less than 6 hours.
But what I'm saying is it doesn't move slowly. You see every brushstroke, you see the paint laid down, super satisfying, and you learn how to stack your brushstrokes, you learn how to render the anatomy, how to render form, how to mix skin tones, all the tricks on how to do hair and eyelashes and eyes and lips and create that form, warm and cool, color temperature. It is a fantastic lesson. I even know people, because we do teach this method in the mastery program, that wanted to see another lesson on that topic or that technique. Mastery students, even after they've gone through the whole oil, have bought this, and they've told me that they're like blown away because it is such a good step by step, even though they already learned it. So it's a really fantastic class. Highly recommend it. And the fact that you get $40 off, which makes it
only $45.
Only $45. That's basically almost half off. That is a no-brainer. So, and we're only doing this for a limited time, right? First 1,000.
Yeah, just
people?
The first 1,000. We've already had several hundred people claim this. So if you're watching this and you're on the fence, now is the right time to get it, because after 1,000 people do claim that, then this offer will be expired.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys, today. I had so much fun. I definitely zoned out and was in right brain land painting with you. So hopefully I made sense when I was talking about things. And I really enjoyed every minute of this. I hope you gained something out of it. Please do not be intimidated by oil painting. It is easier than acrylic. So if you have been working in acrylic, switch to oil and give oil a try. And down the road, once you have both under your belt, you can probably combine the two by layering oil on top of acrylic, and it is fantastic. So give oil painting a try, and mastery program is really, if you want to advance your skills, you want to find your voice, and you want to build an art business, and one day be in SOPA, take the mastery program. It is life-changing, and you will not regret it, and you will learn everything you've dreamed of learning as an artist, I promise. So thanks for being here, and I will see you in the next live, probably next week.